Alright, so today we're going to talk about how to make a soft shackle using 550 paracord. What you're going to need is some 550 paracord, a knife, a needle, and some tape. What I do is I measure out my length. What you're going to do is you're going to take this side and you're going to bury it into the inner core of itself. Then you're going to use that as a carabiner. Whatever length you want, you need twice as much because it's going to be doubled over on itself. So you can simply fold it in half like this until you get the right sized carabiner you want. Give yourself a little extra for binding, for whatever loss you might have. Your knots, you're going to have to tie a knot. A little extra for knots. The measurements I've been using is 11.5 inches, which is the size of a piece of paper. Then you could remove the interior strands. Then you're going to want to cut one side at a 45-degree angle. It's going to give it a taper and it's going to help it bury inside the core of the rope or the cord. And then I take the needle and I stick it inside the cord. Take the tape, take the needle to the cord or the cord to the needle, just to make sure that everything is on there tight. Because if not, the needle will come off inside the cord, and then usually the tape will come off as well, and then you'll have a piece of tape stuck inside your cord. And you have to work the tape out. It's not very easy to do that. And then you fold it. You get it to where you want it, and then find out where my bury is going to be. My bury is going to be right here. Where this loop is here, just off to the other side where the needle is. Like the needle is on this side. Like the needle is on this side. So I want to enter on the end, but on the opposite end of the side of the needle. So this is the very end, and I'm going to enter the core of my paracord right there. So just take that, stick the needle into the core of the paracord, kind of work the tape through. If you take the cord and you press it like this, you'll see that it expands, it opens up, and that gives you room on the inside to do what you need to do. It also releases any pressures here, and it's the whole idea behind the constriction that these type ropes put on to other ropes that are inside of them. Okay, and then you just work that in there. You just press, take this side right here, press, it expands, and then you just simply push it further up. It's called milking. This is called milking. So you expand, pinch the needle, and milk it back over. What I'm doing is I'm taking part of this cord and I'm putting it into the interior of this other part of the cord. That's called burying. Okay, we're making a bury. And this releases, when I push here, it expands that rope. It releases any constriction that it might have. Then I take that excess and I pull it back. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go all the way to the end. I'm going to take this all the way to the end until both these meet again. Okay, so now the needle is starting to come out this far end over here. My loop is getting real small. Now what you want to do, if you didn't measure properly and you're not to the end yet, don't worry about it. Just get this loop to where it's really small, and that'll be fine. Then all you gotta do is cut here, and then they'll be even again. You see what I'm saying? Because you're going to tie a knot here in a minute. Okay, so now I got them back to where they're even. They're right there. So I'm going to milk this. Okay, so I need to make that knot a little smaller because what I did is I didn't make the interior part long enough, so I'm going to kind of pull that just a little further so I can make that knot smaller. That's the important part, is making the knot small. That's what's going to hold on the lock nut. Okay, so now that knot's good and small. What I'm going to do now is cut these guys even right here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fray these ends up real good. Just have a steak knife, a serrated steak knife, and I'm just going to fray those ends up real good. Okay, so those ends are frayed up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to singe them together with the lighter. This is going to help hold them together. But I'm also going to tie a knot. Move that knot as far to the end as possible. This is just an overhand knot. There's some fancier knots out there. Okay, so now that's the finished soft shackle. Now what you do here is you simply grab the end that goes into the inner core, and you pull and push this down and pull this out, and what that does is it expands that loop again. Okay, but then when I milk this back down, the loop gets smaller. Okay, so I can make that loop larger and smaller simply by moving that the inner strand or the inner part of the cord by moving it this way or that way, and we can fit that over this knot. So I'm just going to expand it, expand that loop open, put the knot through it. Okay, then I'm going to milk that loop closed. And there you go. Substitute is called a soft shackle. It's a good, very good substitute for a carabiner. It's a lot less weight. What I'm going to use this for is for my tarp, attaching my tarp to my ridge line via a Prusik knot. And I'm just going to use it the same way I use a carabiner.